Hello and thanks for staying with us. You're watching the news on Rapid Television. I am Victor Arke. Let's begin with the headlines. Tinubu orders urgent action to clear 1.5 trillion naira contractor debt, and the EFCC detains former Anambra Governor Chris Ngige in Abuja. Bond, yield surge as DMO hikes rates in December auctions. And the foreign scene, Burkina Faso releases 11 Nigerian officers after C-130 landing probe. NSC moves to establish integrity unit to tackle ethical misconduct in sport. Details of these and more will come to you in the bulletin. President Bola Tinubu has ordered an urgent intervention to clear long-standing debts owed to federal contractors after revelations that nearly 2,000 verified firms have not been paid for completed projects. The directive followed Monday's Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja, where Presidential Advisor Bayo Ananuga said the president expressed grave displeasure over the latest figures presented to him by the Bureau of Public Procurement. Tinubu reportedly questioned why improved revenues and tax collections have not translated into timely payments and warned that he wants a one-stop solution to the problem. To address the situation, the president has set up a multi-agency committee made up of key ministers and heads of finance-related agencies. The team is expected to determine the true extent of the liabilities and design a coordinated repayment plan that may include borrowing if required. The renewed scrutiny comes after repeated protests by contractors, including a September demonstration over claims of more than 4 trillion naira in unpaid but certified projects and ongoing verification of about 1.5 trillion naira owed for federal road contracts. Meanwhile, the Senate has asked its Committee on Police Affairs to investigate allegations of selective enforcement of President Bola Tinubu's directive withdrawing police escorts from VIPs. This follows complaints raised by Senator Abdul Ningi, who protested that his only police orderly had been withdrawn while ministers, business executives, political families and entertainers reportedly continue to enjoy full security cover. He warned that the uneven application of the policy exposes lawmakers to avoidable risks. Deputy Senate President Baru Jibrin acknowledged that the directive appears to have been applied inconsistently and assured lawmakers that steps are being taken to address the concerns. He emphasized that while the Senate supports reforms aimed at strengthening internal security, they must be implemented fairly. The Police Affairs Committee is expected to report back within 4 weeks on why some high-profile individuals retained escorts despite the presidential order. The House of Representatives erupted into chaos on Wednesday as lawmakers clashed over the Public Accounts Committee's report alleging that the Central Bank of Nigeria may have withheld approximately 16.3 trillion naira from federal revenues. Our correspondent, Nathan Williams, reports.
While the committee chairman, Honorable Bamidele Salam, pushed for a summons to bring the CBN governor before the House, others wanted an ad hoc panel to meet him first, and a third faction insisted the governor should appear before the whole chamber.
Also aware that in the course of ongoing investigation by the Public Accounts Committee into the Auditor General's report for the year 2022 financial year, as well as the administration of the remittance revenue collection system by the Central Bank of Nigeria, covering the period from 1st of March 2015 to the 30th of April 2016, the committee uncovered the following. 1, that the Central Bank has an undisputed liability of 5.2 trillion naira in unpaid operating surpluses due to the federal government of Nigeria for the year ended 2016 to 2020.
The heated debate saw the Speaker trying to restore order. The Chief Whip, Usman Bello Kumo, and the Minority Whip also struggled to calm agitated members as they moved from one lawmaker to another to restore order amid the shouting march.
Inasmuch as the committee has written severally to the agency and they have not been honoring, this time around is a resolution of the House for them to appear before the committee. So you don't have to populate the committee with other functions. So what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is, let there be a resolution on the floor of this House forcing and compelling the agency to appear before the Committee on Public Accounts, whether they like it or not.
Hear your own opinion. and the majority will carry the day. So I put the question. Those in support of this amendment should say aye. Aye. Those against should say nay. Nay. I will put it again. Those in support of this motion should say aye. Aye. Those against should say nay. Nay. The ayes have it.
Honorable Ahmed Jaha eventually moved a motion that the CBN governor and other relevant stakeholders be summoned to appear before the Public Accounts Committee, failing which sanctions would apply. The motion passed through voice votes. Nathan Williams, Rapid TV, Abuja.
Furthermore, the House raised alarm over rising defaults on COVID-19 survivor support loans, citing severe inflation, food insecurity, business closures, and shrinking household incomes. In a motion of urgent public importance, Honorable Saidu Musa Abdullahi urged the federal government through the CBN, NISA, Microfinance Bank, and the Ministry of Finance to immediately suspend all deductions on these intervention loans. Again, our correspondent, Nathan Williams, reports.
The House notes that the federal government, through the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN and NASA Microfinance Bank, introduced the COVID-19 Targeted Credit Facility, TCF, during the pandemic, disbursing 419.42 billion naira to households, micro, small and medium enterprises to cushion the devastating socio-economic impact of the global lockdown. The House also notes that the program reached 792,936 beneficiaries nationwide, 674,972 households, and 117,964 small businesses, with women accounting for 45% of beneficiaries. About 330,128 women supported with 159.21 billion naira. The House is, however, concerned that as at September 2023, 261.07 billion naira, about 62% of the loans, remained unpaid, while 378.03 billion naira was classified as outstanding, reflecting widespread inability to repay among vulnerable households and micro-enterprises.
That the federal government, through the Central Bank of Nigeria and the NISA Microfinance Bank, introduced the COVID-19 targeted credit facility during the pandemic, disbursing 419.42 billion to households, micro, small and medium enterprises to cushion the devastating socio-economic impact of the global lockdown. Also notes that the program reached 792,936 beneficiaries nationwide, out of which 674,972 households were households and 117,964 small businesses, with women accounting for 45% of beneficiaries.
While commending the federal government, CBN and NASA Microfinance Bank for the foresight shown in establishing the TCF, which provided a critical safety net during the pandemic and helped millions of Nigerians maintain basic economic stability, the House resolved to urge the federal government to grant total waiver on the outstanding COVID-19 intervention loans owed by vulnerable households and micro businesses in recognition of their inability to repay under current harsh economic conditions.
Continued automatic debits and aggressive recoveries are inflicting severe hardships on vulnerable Nigerians, risking the collapse of small businesses, worsening unemployment and heightening social instability. Commends the federal government, CBN and NISA Microfinance Bank for the foresight shown in establishing the TCF.
The House has, however, urged financial institutions involved to ensure transparent, equitable and efficient implementation of the waiver and restructuring framework. Nathan Williams, Rapid TV, Abuja.
Former Anambra State Governor and immediate past Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, is currently in the custody of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in Abuja. His former media aide, Fred Chukwulobe, confirmed the development on Wednesday night, dismissing earlier rumors of a kidnapping. Chukwulobe said Ngige voluntarily appeared before the EFCC, adding that more details will be released in due course. Although the anti-graft agency is yet to issue an official statement, reports say Ngige is being questioned over alleged financial irregularities linked to his time in public office. The former governor had recently been in the news after armed assailants attacked his convoy in Anambra. Though he was not present in the targeted vehicle, His detention adds to a growing list of high-profile political figures under EFCC scrutiny as anti-corruption efforts intensify nationwide. And to politics, where the Accord Party has cleared Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke as its sole aspirant for the 2026 governorship election. The party's screening committee, led by its National Organizing Secretary, Ibe Thangard, confirmed that Adeleke met all requirements and described him as a worthy gubernatorial aspirant. The governor received his certificate of clearance on Wednesday in Osogbo, barely 24 hours after announcing his defection from the PDP. Responding, Governor Adeleke thanked the party leadership and declared readiness for both the primary and the general election. He expressed confidence that the Accord Party would win the governorship race in 2026. His entry reshapes the state's political landscape as the build-up to the next governorship contest intensifies. Meanwhile, 7 governorship aspirants of the All Progressive Congress in Osun State have stepped down after a meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa. The aspirants agreed to adopt Bola Oyebamji as the party's consensus candidate ahead of the primary election. However, former APC National Secretary Iyola Omishore, who earlier described his disqualification as a joke, boycotted the meeting. Those who withdrew from the race include former Deputy Governor Benedict Alabi, Dotun Babayemi, Senator Babajinde Omo Worare, Akin Ogumbuyi, Kunle Adegoke, Babatunde Oralusi, and Mulikat Abiola Jimoh. Their decision is expected to streamline the APC's internal contest as the party works to avoid a divisive primary and strengthen its chances in the forthcoming governorship election. Meanwhile, workplace diversification and advancing the role of women in the newsroom took center stage at a one-day capacity building program for female journalists in the FCT, organized by the Nigerian Association of Women Journalists in partnership with the Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation. The training aims to strengthen women's visibility, safety, and leadership in the media industry. Our correspondent, Josephine Bitrus, reports.
Female journalists in Nigeria continue to face multiple challenges in the newsroom, including the pressure of balancing demanding work schedules with family responsibilities. These barriers often result in stress, burnout, and limited career advancement. The training, organized by the Nigeria Association of Women Journalists FCT chapter in partnership with the Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation, seeks to equip women journalists with the skills and support systems needed to thrive professionally, while also amplifying female leadership within newsrooms nationwide. The Head of Civil Service of the Federation, Mrs. Didi Esther Wilson-Jack, said the theme, Workplace Diversification, Advancing Female Journalists' Role in the Newsroom, was both timely and transformative.
Women have always been central to nation building, often what requires as now ever before.
Women remain underrepresented in decision-making, noting that women are now organizing to reshape the industry rather than waiting to be included. Chairman of the NUJ-FCT Council, Comrade Grace Ike, commended the Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation for its support and applauded female journalists for their courage, professionalism, and resilience despite persistent challenges.
The simple truth is there is no strong newsroom without a strong woman. As the NUJ-FCT Council, we stand with you. We will continue to speak against harassment, intimidation, discrimination of any form or oppression of women. We will continue to demand safer, fairer, and more inclusive newsroom across the FCT and beyond.
This training is born out of the collective desire to see women take their rightful place in the newsroom, to strengthen our professional capacities, to embrace digital transformation, and to ensure we thrive in leadership and in life. Therefore, the theme of this training.
Topics such as amplifying women's voices in leadership and balancing work responsibilities with the home front were covered during the training. Participants said the program offers a renewed push for safer, more inclusive, and gender-balanced newsrooms, an essential step towards strengthening journalism and national development. Josephine Bitrus, Rapid TV News, Abuja.
You're still watching the news on Rapid Television. We'll bring you more details after this break. Just stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching the news on Rapid Television. Moving on now to other stories. Nigeria's bond market saw a sharp rise in yields as investors demanded higher returns following the Debt Management Office's latest auction, which offered a 364-day bill at 17.5%, up from 16% previously. Trading data from FMDQ showed significant increases across longer-dated government bonds, marking the first major upward movement since the central bank began monetary policy easing in September. Analysts say the spike reflects rising borrowing costs, year-end liquidity pressures, and investor reaction to higher stop rates at recent auctions. Bond yields climbed across several maturities, while short-term treasury bills remain relatively stable, with only slight dips on some instruments. However, longer-dated T-bills also saw sharp increases, with some jumping more than 1.5 percentage points. Market analysts explain that investors are selling assets to free up cash for the festive season and demanding higher returns for tying up funds long-term. This movement comes as the CBN maintains a tight monetary stance to rein in inflation, despite concerns about high borrowing costs facing businesses. And on the foreign scene, Burkina Faso has released the 11 Nigerian military officers detained after a Nigerian Air Force C-130 aircraft made what the country described as an unauthorized landing at the Bobo Dioulasso airfield. The officers, 2 crew members and 9 passengers were questioned after being suspected of links to the recent failed coup attempt in neighboring Benin Republic. They were later cleared of any wrongdoing and have since returned to Nigeria. The Nigerian Air Force maintains the aircraft made a technical emergency land en route to Portugal, but Burkina Faso insists the jet violated its airspace without prior clearance. The governments of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, under the alliance of Sahel states, condemned the incident as an unfriendly act. The episode adds strain to already tense relations between Nigeria and the AES bloc, which recently withdrew from ECOWAS. At least 22 people have died after 2 4-story residential buildings, collapsed overnight in the city of Fez, Morocco. 16 others were injured and rushed to hospital, while authorities evacuated the surrounding area as rescue operations continued into Wednesday morning. The cause of the collapse is still unclear. Fez, one of the host cities for the upcoming Africa Cup of Nations and the 2030 World Cup, is known for its ancient structures, but also struggles with aging infrastructure. This is the second deadly collapse this year, after another building failure in May killed 10 people. Concerns continue to mount about weak enforcement of building codes and rising inequality in urban areas. And in sports, FIFA has announced that the 2026 World Cup will feature 2 mandatory 3-minute hydration breaks in every match, 1 midday through each half. The breaks will not stop the match clock, but referees will add 3 minutes of stoppage time at the end of each half. FIFA says the move is to protect players' health following concerns raised during this year's Club World Cup, where extreme heat in the US affected performance and even caused dizziness for some players. The breaks will be enforced regardless of weather conditions, ensuring all teams play under the same rules. National team coaches and broadcasters have given their full backing to the decision, which will also allow brief tactical discussions. FIFA's chief tournament officer says the breaks will be strictly timed from whistle to whistle. The new rule takes effect when the World Cup kicks off across the US, Canada, and Mexico. Also, the National Sports Commission, NSC, says it has concluded plans to establish an integrity unit to strengthen Nigeria's fight against age falsification and other ethical violations in sports. The move follows decisions taken at the recent Council of Sports meeting in Calabar, where stakeholders approved new sanctions against age fraud and called for reforms to align Nigeria with global best practices. The Commission says the integrity unit is a key part of efforts to rebuild credibility and improve Nigeria's performance on the international stage. NSC Director General Honorable Bukola Olapode says the new unit will work closely with sports federations, anti-doping bodies, athletes, and other key stakeholders. He stressed that the reform is backed by the renewed hope initiative for Nigeria's sports economy under President Bola Tinubu. Olopade says the goal is to restore integrity, strengthen compliance, and ensure the country presents athletes with verified ages and clean records at global competitions. Meanwhile, Team Nigeria is set to depart for Angola for the 2025 African Youth Games, which will run from December 10th to 20th across 6 host cities. The event, marking Angola's 50th independence anniversary, will feature young athletes aged 14 to 17 competing in 33 sports. Nigeria's advanced team is already on ground, and officials say preparations are in top gear. 2 athletes were dropped from the delegation after age discrepancies were discovered, as the National Sports Commission tightens its stance against age cheating. Meanwhile, the tennis team, led by coach Akinwumi Ogunsakin, is optimistic about its chances, and Nigeria Tennis Federation President Victor Oche says the squad is well prepared and capable of delivering podium finishes. He urged the athletes to compete with discipline and uphold Nigeria's image as they face top youth talent from across Africa. To end the news, here is a recap. Tinubu orders urgent action to clear 1.5 trillion naira contractor debts. And EFCC detains former Anambra Governor Chris Ngige in Abuja. Bond yields surge as DMO hikes rates in December auctions. And the foreign scene, Burkina Faso releases 11 Nigerian officers after C-130 landing probe. And in sports, NSC moves to establish integrity unit to tackle ethical misconduct in sport. And that's the news. Thank you for watching. I am Victor Arke.